Hi guys, welcome back to Rate the Dream, Life, Love, and Mortgages. I am your host, Melissa Landon, and we are continuing our series, The Road to Home Ownership. And on this episode, episode 6, I have a good friend of mine here, Alyssa White with Sweetwater Title Co. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Alyssa has 24 years experience in the industry. She is the owner and insured title rep for Sweetwater Title Co. So we're going to pick her brain of all things title and escrow.
Thank you, Melissa. It's a pleasure to be here. I haven't been on a video like this before, so a little intimidated, and I didn't study my questions, so a little bit of ad lib today.
That works. So the main part of the series is for people that don't know, or things that have changed over the years of home ownership. So, and I know lots changed in title, and here in the state of Virginia, we do different than other states. So we're speaking just to the states right here, as far as title and escrows and closings. But tell me what the main reason for a title company is and how you come into the playing field here with everybody.
Sure.
What your role is.
So I think you brought up an important point is title is handled differently in different regions. It's even handled differently in Virginia, Maryland, and DC. So, and there's two primary parts of the title agent, and they're going to be doing title insurance and escrow. And those are both handled by the settlement company here locally. So, and our primary focus is to help you to closing, to handle all the finances, and to make sure the exchange of ownership is legitimate. Mm-hmm. And then also to protect that owner that is taking ownership, protect their ownership of the property from, property line to property line. So. Okay. And I think people sometimes get confused with homeowners insurance, which is, actual damage to the home. We protect your ownership, kind of an intangible, thing.
Okay. So we're switching to like title insurance, because that is a question that we get, because when you buy a house, there are two separate policies. You have your owner's policy and the lender's policy. And then when you refi, you just have a lender's policy. So I did title many years ago. That's how we met. Yeah. But if you can explain the difference of the owner's title versus the lender's title and why you need it and when you need it.
Okay. So an owner's policy, there's two types of owner's policies. And the primary purpose of the owner's policy is to protect the owner. And a basic policy and an enhanced policy are the two different types. A basic policy is going to protect the owner from anything that happened prior to them taking ownership. Okay. So if a prior owner had a judgment that maybe didn't come up in a title search, that would be an item that would be protected under a basic owner's insurance policy. Whereas an enhanced policy protects consumers against future events. So something that could happen in the future. So let's say a neighbor builds a fence and they build it on your side of the property. That would be a future. Well, if they did it after you took ownership, that would be a future event. Okay. And that would be something you would receive protection from.
What's the most common policy that people buy? Do they do the enhanced or they do the regular, or does it just depend on the situation? Because I know like new builds, we typically have in the past, and you can correct me anytime I'm wrong because I haven't done title in a long time, but I feel like builders, we were doing the more enhanced policy because it was covering if the builder didn't pay the people that were there doing work or anything of that nature, if the builder bellied up and went bankrupt, and all of a sudden you have all these unpaid liens.
So mechanics lien coverage is something that is provided with an enhanced policy. Okay. That's not provided in a basic policy. And a mechanics lien, and that's because mechanics have a period of time that they can go back and file a lien if they're not paid from a job.
Okay. So basic resale, are we seeing an enhanced policy or the regular policy?
I think most people want the security that comes with an enhanced policy because it protects their financial investment forever. It's a one-time premium. Yep. You pay it at closing. Most of the time, lenders, when they're providing an estimate, they're giving that quote with the enhanced policy. So you can see that figure up front.
We always do. And I think most do anyways, because that's the preferred. Because again, you're buying You're spending, I don't even care if you're buying a $200,000 house. I mean, it's a lot of money. So you want to protect what you're buying.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And the policy doesn't just, protect what you could lose. If there's ever legal costs, which far outweighs, I mean, that's very expensive, especially in our area. What's an attorney cost? $250, $350 an hour, maybe $500 an hour. Yeah. I mean, you could, a policy, an owner's policy is only a couple $1,000s. So
yeah, I've had an argument of late, and also when I did it before was, well, you're doing a title search. You're giving me clear title, right? So then why would I buy the title policy?
Well, and that's because, future events for an enhanced policy. So something that could come up in the future, but also, there's things that we don't find in a title search. People are doing title searches. There's an actual abstractor and they make mistakes. It could be a human error. It could be, when we could talk about mechanics liens, or even we could talk about a judgment. If, we do a title search, that could only be good through a certain date. We've got, somebody physically goes and looks at the land records and then they say it's good through today. But then tomorrow something's filed. So, and then we close the next day. We missed something there, and something showed up and we weren't aware. So you want to be protected.
Okay. So let's talk about the difference in. We talked about title insurance. So the closing. So for buyers, what does that look like for them? You guys explain all the documents.
Yes, we sit down at the closing. So. And I actually, we try to explain a little bit more throughout the process and help them understand what they are purchasing, what their different policies are. I try to communicate that and answer any questions in advance. So when they get to closing, they don't have those questions. So sometimes it's good to talk to your title agent before you get to closing because you're making those decisions. When we're at the closing table, hopefully those decisions have already been made and we're not looking at it for the first time. We're just kind of checking the boxes, say, yeah, that's what I wanted. Yes. So
how long does a typical closing last for a purchase? Because most of the time the sellers and the buyers are not at the same table or place anymore of closing. Sellers are typically signing their documents before. So it's not like many, many years ago when we were all at the table at the same time.
Yes, yeah.
So typical closing on a purchase from beginning to end, if they have, normal amounts of questions.
So a buyer's side, we usually allot an hour.
Okay.
Somebody that has a lot of questions could take up that whole hour. I would say typically 30 to 45 minutes is the average closing.
And then after all the documents are signed, you guys then record all the documents in the county. Just run me through a short version of then how that works.
Okay. So in Virginia, and this is where it's different by, we have some differences by region. So in Virginia, we have to record before we disperse. So after the signing, we bring in the documents, and depending on the lender, sometimes we have a funding authorization we have to request. So then we have to submit those documents. We have to scan them in, submit them over to the lender, and they have to review them, and they have to say, it's okay for you to spend this money we sent you. We approve these documents.
We approve it, yes.
These documents were signed correctly. So you can spend the money. So now we're allowed to spend the money to send the document to the courthouse to be recorded. And then that takes some time, and it depends on the courthouse, how fast that's processed. It also depends on, maybe the time of year and the volume, just within the industry, how fast that happens. And once that's completed, we get a notification that that's complete, and then we release all the funds.
Okay. So, and then, because the question we get asked a lot, so at that point, the buyers are now the owners, and they will get their official signed copy of their deed and their title insurance policy within 30 days. You say, how long does it take to, because people always ask when they can get a copy of their official recorded signed deed. Now, even though it's within 24, 48 hours, they are the official owners and everything's been dispersed. If they wanted a copy of the original deed, do you guys send that automatically, or are we requesting a copy from you?
We do send it automatically. So here's, we record, and this is where it could be different too by region. So in Maryland, you do not have to record before you disperse. You can actually, once you have the funds and once you have that authorization to disperse, you can release all the funds then. But Maryland takes a lot longer to record.
Yes. So if they want a copy of the deed, I mean, obviously,
Okay.
well, and like I
So,
said,
yeah.
depends on region. So we're not holding you to any sort of feet to the fire on this because it does depend on region and state and all of that. But typically, once you guys have everything back, the owners get an official copy of their deed, is my question. Because we always get asked, like, when do I get an official copy?
Yes. Okay. So when you're getting an official copy of your deed, and that's where it can look a little different because we submit those electronically now.
Yeah.
So when we scan that in and we submit it, and they record it, they stamp it on a not original copy. It's stamped on
a screen.
electronically on a scanned copy. So when we print that out, the original is kind of a copy.
Okay.
So the electronic version, can almost be your final version. So we can download those and send them over right away. We do like to print those out and mail them with a copy of their policy so they have a copy of it.
Okay. I mean, most of it, like I said, it depends on the county, depends on the state, it depends on everyone works in their own time. I do remember where everything had to be sent over by courier, and the original docs got recorded and then sent back. Times have changed, but
yes,
the old school of that.
Yeah, we used to have to come in the morning and
yes,
organize all our files. We had to go to the copier real quick and scan them
out.
So,
the courier had to come, go to the courthouse, and then we got the phone call that, okay, you can disperse.
Yeah,
it's been recorded.
Yeah. Now we can do it electronically. And that did delay things. So when we did have couriers that would take it to the courthouse, then we'd have to wait for the courthouse to process it, because then they probably have to scan it in their systems, and then they'll put it in the mail to us when they get around to it. Yeah. And then, when we get it, we have to scan it in, and then we have to mail it out. So it used to be it's a lot faster now.
Yeah, it's a lot faster now.
It used to be a lot slower.
So title companies are very much behind the scenes until the end. The realtor and the lender do a lot of the upfront with you guys. I know we try to do, as of late, and I know you and I had this conversation, of bringing you to the front so the clients can meet you, because there has been a lot of, who's that emailing, or who's this? So we try to point out the players in the game, as I like to call it, because you guys, they don't really see your face or talk to you guys really until the end, when you're scheduling closing and we're going over closing docs and, okay, now congratulations, you own a house. But I do have people to call you to discuss the title insurance, and if they have any questions about that, because it is, I mean, we're just doing a short video, but it is in depth, and there is a lot that only you can explain to them to make it make sense.
Yeah, certainly. I recommend, we reach out and we tell you, hey, have you, do you know what your options are? Do you know the difference? Mm-hmm. And we try to, give the consumer an opportunity to ask us questions, and, we want to talk to them about their options. We also are going to ask them about a survey if they want a survey. Yep. Because if they want a survey, an enhanced policy will provide them extra protection. So there's reasons, why you want the enhanced policy, and maybe times when, maybe the enhanced policy doesn't make sense. And I don't mind having that conversation. If it doesn't make sense for you, then why spend the extra money?
Yeah. And then when you talk to the buyer, because we can't write a personal check for all this money that we're bringing, and we're very keen in the industry as of late of wire fraud and all kinds of, fraudulent activity all over is out of control, but especially wire fraud and sending your money. And you guys have secured systems for people to log in and transfer information. You reach out personally once they know their final figure, and you guys go over with them where they're sending it, how they send it, and make sure we're securely sending it.
Yes, it's always recommended, no matter what title company you work for, to pick up the phone and call them and speak to a person. Ideally, somebody that you've, been talking to, that you have some kind of rapport with. Definitely go to their website, call the phone number on their website, on their business card. Things are intercepted in email. Yeah. So it's always good to not trust. Be hesitant with your email and be reserved, especially never to accept wiring instructions across email.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we send out something, and then we always make sure that they call you directly. And as lenders, we never say, yep, that's where you send it. Mm-hmm. Like, I always tell them to follow up with you guys. So, anything else you think that is important that we didn't touch on as far as title goes?
I think taxes are important. I think property taxes, I think that this is a big one for first-time home buyers. They don't realize it, is your property does get reassessed every year, and your property taxes will go up. If you're buying a new home, the assessment may just be the land, which is $100,000. So if you're buying an $800,000 home and you're paying taxes at closing on $100,000 because that's the value of the property, the county is going to come back to you and they're going to ask, they're going to send you a supplemental bill, and you're going to have additional taxes to pay. So, and each year your taxes could potentially go up or down. If your assessment goes down, your taxes could go down, and the rates of the county, those change. So that's important for people to know, is your mortgage payment could change based on your taxes. And that's something that changes annually.
Okay. Oh, and one other, because I do have people, on the closing disclosure and all the fees and stuff, homeowners insurance gets collected at closing and paid for the year. That's something that was part of when you say disbursement, that's something that goes to that too, right? You guys send the check or the wire, however the insurance company wants it, you guys send that. So you guys handle a lot of really important things. All the money goes through you guys. Yeah. And that's one of the things that you guys cover. And also we have some people that pay off debts at closing. That falls into you guys as well. When you guys disperse, we're dispersing all the money that's on the closing disclosure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And anything that's a lien, I'm going to be overnighting, or I'm going to be wiring, because I want some kind of confirmation that was delivered. And
people always have the right to choose title companies. I think we forget that, right? You have the right to choose your realtor, your insurance, all of it. Title companies are also one. We as lenders and realtors, we all have our favorites that we like to work with, because we know you get the job done and you do a great job. And a lot of times when people are purchasing, the sellers have a preferred, your agent has a preferred. But when also comes time to refi, because we are going to be seeing lots of those, fingers crossed, continuing as the rates continue to trend down. If they come back to you, or they can come to you, even if they didn't close with you, they can always come to you, and you can help them refinance as well.
Absolutely. And there is a reissue rate, where our refinance rate is what they call it now. So the rate is lower for lenders title insurance when you refinance. So, and we do always offer mobile closing. So we will come to our clients at their location, especially we found a lot in the COVID, refi boom that I don't know if I had maybe one client that came into the office. So most closings were in the evening in people's homes.
So you're flexible with people. That's awesome. Okay.
Hi. Again, I'm Alyssa White. I'm the owner of Sweetwater Title Co. You can find us at www.sweetwatertitleco.com. You can email me at Alyssa, ALYSSA, at sweetwatertitleco.com. And I look forward to hearing you and helping you to closing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for joining us on our episode of the Road to Home Ownership and Title and All Things Closings. This is going to be the last episode of this series, as title is kind of goes full circle for us. But like, follow, share for more information, and we'll see you guys next time.